The day after any budget is always one of the most hectic of the year in Parliament. There's an interview frenzy as the government sells its virtues and the opposition exposes its vices. Soon Lee Sales will get the verdict on the budget from a panel of Australians, and I'll be putting some of their thoughts to the Prime Minister. But first to the corridors of power, where last night and this morning blended into one long wall of sound. So what's the entrepreneurs of
Our medium-term prospects are bright. We don't take our savings decisions lightly.
It was a hard day's night.
Hey Joe, extra special haircut for the budget.
And on into the morning. As the sun rose over a bitterly cold Canberra, the Prime Minister joined the budget offensive.
Hello, sir. How are you?
And her opponents mounted the ritual effort to kill it at birth.
It's heavy weather for them.
Despite some passing pleasantries.
Morning.
Morning, Prime Minister. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good.
This is a political war, and the opposition's objective couldn't be clearer.
Peter, we're going to do everything we can to put the pressure on the government to call an election.
The budget is both an economic and a political document, and it has two constituencies, the one inside Parliament House.
It's not the mood of the Treasurer or the government that counts here, it's the well-being of the Australian people.
And the one outside it.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Good result.
It is a good result. Thank you.
More money for mental health has been warmly welcomed by a once harsh critic of the government, even though the $2.2 billion headline reduces the longer you look at it.
I would have liked to have seen a bit more money a bit earlier. Well, look, I have a sense of relief that the government has listened and it's read carefully what the advice of the sector has been now for some time.
There was less joy elsewhere.
We are really disappointed that, consistent with some of the rhetoric leading up to this budget, there are measures in here which would be described as a crackdown.
It's important that this budget is received well on the streets and that the government begins to broaden the national conversation away from carbon tax and border protection.
But the story of this budget too is a story of jobs and opportunity. We believe in the benefits and dignity of work.
But for a minority government, the internal audience can make or break it. The Greens aren't excited by all they see.
The intention is to put people into work, but there can be some really distressing outcomes from this, which simply will put people into a greater poverty.
But while Bob Brown might force some changes, he is willing to talk.
I'd prefer to do it by negotiation with the government.
The winners and grinners are the independents who scored billions for regional programs.
It is the regions finding their voice.
But the coalition sees no good in this on any front. It's not tough enough.
This is lazy policy. If a surplus is ever achieved, it'll be a surplus made in China, not a surplus made in Australia.
And it's too tough.
I think the average battler is going to look at this budget and say, this is a government without a heart, without a soul, without a policy, without a plan.
The Prime Minister is playing a long game, convinced her fragile majority will hold for a full term. And after months of pain, the government wants to turn the blowtorch on the coalition when the budget reply speech is delivered tomorrow.
The weight, first and foremost, is on Tony Abbott's shoulders.
The battle was joined in Parliament today, and the youngest member offered himself as deficit performance art.
I'm about to turn 21. No Labor government in this place has ever delivered a budget surplus in my lifetime. Why should anyone believe you now?
Alas, birthday goodwill or goodwill of any kind is also in deficit here.
He'd have to keep studying and not go on the dole.